Facebook has been under fire in recent months for allowing and allegedly promoting fake news stories on its network. The tech giant has also been under pressure to crack down on these stories. Now the company is taking new steps to fight the rising tide of fake news with a 4-point plan. Executive editor from CNET, Roger Chang, joins me now to break this all down. Good to see you, Roger.
Good to be here.
All right, so Facebook is saying that their plan to fight these fake news stories falls into 4 different areas. Explain that 4-step plan.
Sure. First step is to make it easier for people to report fake news. They're also going to be working with third-party fact checkers to actually dispute some stories so that some of the posts will actually say that this is disputed. You'll have to actually click through that warning message before you read it. Then they're going to be they're going to be cutting off sort of the financial incentives by making it harder to spoof domain names, so it doesn't look like the story is coming from a legitimate news site. And they're also testing out an algorithm looking at whether or not stories that don't get shared a lot are intentionally misleading people and de-emphasizing those stories.
So I wonder, I mean, what are the pros and cons of this plan?
Well, for one thing, Facebook has been under fire for this fake news flap. They obviously needed to do something. A lot of these elements seem like they're logical steps to kind of helping with sort of the fake news scourge. I mean, the idea of making it easier to report fake stories is a good one in theory, but that can also be something that can be abused. If it's a story that you don't agree with, you could just flag it as fake, and if enough people do that, then that story is considered fake at Facebook. So that's a real problem. It's a real question that Facebook still needs to answer.
You know, for lay people, it sounds that this plan might be too vague, and I also wonder. You know, is it because, I mean, why not just ban them completely? If they have an algorithm that can figure out stories that are fake, why not just take them off the website absolutely completely and not just give people a heads up that they may be fake? They're not, I don't know if Facebook thinks of themselves as a news organization, but they're not. They're not a newspaper or even a website like, for example, BuzzFeed. Why don't they just get rid of them?
Well, I mean, I think that puts Facebook in a really tricky position. I don't think Facebook wants to be the arbiter of truth. I don't think that algorithms can really determine what's fake or not, or they don't want to be in a position to use their algorithms to determine whether or not a story is fake, because they don't want the ultimate justification, or they don't want the ultimate responsibility of posting these fake stories or truthful stories. That's why they're working with these third-party fact-checker groups to add an air of credibility to some of these stories.
You know, I wonder, Roger, I mean, if they put a story on Facebook, if I click on a story on Facebook that says Neil Armstrong did not walk on the moon, that the moonwalk was filmed in a Hollywood studio, that is not true. It's factually incorrect. There's no, Facebook isn't deciding whether a story is true or not. It's not true. So I just wonder if that argument is because maybe less people will use Facebook if they can't post these stories.
I mean, that could be it. Again, you give a very obvious example. There are examples that are a lot less obvious, and
right.
I don't think Facebook wants to be in that position at all.
All right. So Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg said that he thinks the idea that fake news on Facebook influenced the election in any way is pretty crazy. But Facebook is a huge media power, even though I wouldn't consider them a news source. They've got 1.8 billion monthly visitors, and 66% of those users are getting their news from Facebook.
Yep.
Is this plan enough to combat what we're seeing?
It's unclear how effective this is going to be. I think the idea that if you click on a story that's disputed, you'll get a warning message can be helpful. I think for a lot of folks who may have their minds made up, maybe it's not that effective. But I think there's no dispute that Facebook is a massive news source. I mean, for many people, it's their primary news source at this point.
Yeah, that's fascinating. Roger Chang from CNET. Always good to talk to you, man. Thank you.
Thanks.